I went to see Eden, the new Ron Howard film.
This is Vajana.
What were you expecting?
Accomplished director, well-known director, and it stars Ana de Armas, Vanessa Kirby, Sydney Sweeney, Jude Law, and Daniel Bro. So like huge, big stars. Especially Ana de Armas and Sydney Sweeney right now are on top of the world. They are some of the hottest in many in many senses. But people don't seem to know about this movie. They don't seem to care about this movie, and I kind of understand why. But basically, it's based on a true story, and it's set in the 1930s. Uh, Jude Law plays this character, Frederick Ritter, who's a doctor that after the First World War decides to leave Germany and kind of like repudiates everything about the high society that he was part of. And he decides to move to this island in the Galapagos. Floreana is the name of the island, with his wife, Dora, who's played by Vanessa Kirby, and just stays there completely alone, fending from himself, and trying to write this book, this manifesto that hopefully will guide humanity into a new era of, I don't know, enlightenment and peace. I don't remember exactly what he wants to achieve with this book. He doesn't write the book in the movie. And then we follow mainly our main protagonist, I guess, is Sydney Sweeney and her husband, Daniel Bro. They arrive to this island with their son, and they decide to settle there too, following Ritter example, I guess. And then shortly after their arrival, another party gets to the island, which is Ana de Armas party. Like she's a countess. She comes there with like her two lover boys and a few other slaves, basically, and she wants to be the first woman to build this hotel, this luxury hotel for billionaires, millionaires, I guess, at the time, on this island. And of course, these three families, these three factions, they come into contact and they clash. That there's sympathies and hate, and like favors, and it's a bit of a thriller, survival story of this character, especially Sydney Sweeney and her husband. They're trying to survive. They're trying to understand how to get fresh water and crops and meat, and kind of like trying to make a life for themselves in this abandoned island. Is this completely devoid of any human touch or life? Like they're just alone on this island with iguanas and other animals. It's just a nightmare of a place. And it's not like it's not a bad movie by any means. But it's not even like one of those movies that I'm like you said, like just go see it in a cinema as quickly as possible. You can, if you're interested in this premise, you can catch it on streaming when it eventually comes to it, probably very soon, because we went to see it last week, and on a Friday evening, it was 10 of us in the theater. So not a very successful movie, even with a stellar cast like this. And this kind of like it's so weird because not even huge stars can sell a movie anymore. And if you look at the poster for the
It's
film,
because it didn't have a chicken jockey scene in it.
exactly, people are not gonna lose their minds throwing popcorn at the screen.
It's a chicken jockey scene that'll get the people in.
And they tried so hard because the trailer kind of sells a different movie, I think. And the poster, I'm looking at the poster right now, and you have Jude Law in the middle with a gun, Daniel Bro to the side with a gun, and then Ana de Armas and Sydney Sweeney, and it looks like a completely different movie. It looks like it's an adventure film. Instead, it's like a very slow paced survival thriller, with like long conversations. This very cool sequence in the middle of the film where Sydney Sweeney has to give birth, and she's alone, and there's like rabid dogs on the island that I guess smell the blood, and they get there and they want to attack her, and she's basically literally giving birth to this child while these other people are trying to rob her. So like there is some good stuff, but at the end of the day, it's not a very memorable movie, and it doesn't really. And there's so many things that just make me roll my eyes. I was thinking about our conversation that we had earlier about people in the post-apocalypse looking too good for what their life should be,
Yeah.
and you have Jude Law and Vanessa Kirby, who are these people who have been living alone on this island for 4 years with barely enough drinkable water, barely enough food. And Vanessa Kirby is supposed to be this woman that is plagued by illness, like she has so many problems, and she's supposed to be like, I don't know, she's playing this character like very frail. They give her a cane at one point, but it's Vanessa Kirby. She's a beautiful woman, and it's just it's not gonna it's not gonna work. You can't just put some dirt on Vanessa Kirby's face and convince me that she's dying of some
Yeah,
illness.
they don't actually do any sort of good makeup effects on her to sell it.
Yeah, at some point it looks like she's missing a couple of teeth, but like it's not convincing at all. I don't know, like it's so weird. And also Jude Law is supposed to be toothless, like he doesn't have any teeth. But it clearly has teeth throughout the film when he talks. So I don't know what.
God, this sounds like a bizarre movie. And
It's
it's weird
very
because like
strange.
that's not usually like Ron Howard's kind of repertoire. It's typically like real life characters or real life situation film, and usually I think he's a very good director.
It's very competently directed. There's very beautiful shots of this island, and I feel like the color grading is, as usual with modern movies, very very washed out for some reason. I mean, they could really make the colors pop, but I guess they want this to feel gritty and real. But I don't know, the color grading really bothered me in certain moments. But yeah, like, and there's some very good performances here. Ana de Armas, she plays this very hateable noble woman who kind of like manipulates everyone around her because she's so beautiful and everyone wants to appease her. And when she doesn't get what she wants, she throws a fit. This movie made me hate Ana de Armas, which I don't think was possible. I didn't think was possible, but it did happen. So she's good in it.
Yeah.
um and Sydney Sweeney was also fairly good as this wide-eyed kind of like young woman who was kind of like brought into this situation by her husband, against her will, and kind of has to adapt to this island and living there, and making it her own. So it has some good stuff, but again, not a very memorable film, not one that I will remember. And it's so interesting to me that a movie with such a cast and an accomplished director behind it and a true story. I think this is the kind of movie that 20 years ago would have been up for awards, would have been, talked about to death. Everyone would be like, oh, you need to watch this movie. But now it's just another thing. Some more content for the streaming factory. It felt more prestigious. Like a few years ago, it would have been more talked about, I feel. It's just on the basis of who is behind it, who's on screen, and the premise and everything. I feel like this would be a movie that people would flock to back in the days of, back in the early 2000s.
Back when you could
Because,
sell a movie more on the stars in it,
yeah,
rather than you can't really do that today. But still, I mean, like you said, Sydney Sweeney and Anna de Armas are definitely like very within the cultural zeitgeist at the moment. And if you can't, like I said, I haven't even seen a trailer for anything for this film. So if you can't market a film with them in it, then you've got a serious problem. I feel like.
yeah, agreed. Anyway, Eden, watch it if you want, maybe on streaming. If you don't want to go to the cinema and spend 50 euros for tickets and fucking popcorn, just wait and watch it on Prime, where it will be probably in 2 weeks.